Hello, everyone. So we got a really strong and sort of unique alignment happening, and I'm called to speak about it. Mars, Venus, and Neptune are coming into a strong alignment with each other. Mars in Sagittarius being squared by Venus in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. And, Neptune and Venus are going to be conjunct just as they're squaring Mars in Sag at 16 degrees Sagittarius. So let's look into these energies. Whenever we think of Mars, we're tuning into the way that we are consciously engaging with the open playing field of life. What do I want? What do I want to go for? What am I attracted to? It's a very visceral energy. And as we mature with Mars, we learn how to engage it consciously. We learn that actions have effects. And so we're engaging with this playing field of life, knowing that our choices are opening up a path for us. So we become a leader of our own soul journey. But there's a lot of powerful animalistic energy in Mars. It's desire, it's raw. So we also learn how to move with it, how to embody it without repressing it, without hurting, right? Without causing violence with it. And reconciling, coming into a clear relationship with that masculine impulse within creation is a big part of this journey for all of us. In Sagittarius, it's all about the intuition. There's a deep need with Mars and Sagittarius for freedom. Freedom is basically this notion of I have a lot of space, unrestricted space, to sense the open fields of my life, to use my intuition. Where's the journey calling me? Where am I called? Am I making a right turn or a left turn? And being spontaneous, being somewhat undefined is very important for Mars in Sagittarius, because that allows for a present moment experience to directly sense and feel what the path is. The analogy for Mars and Sagittarius is just like running through the forest barefoot. You feel the earth, you're breathing the air, your senses are alert. If you put Mars in Sagittarius and you try to domesticate it, you try to fit it into a box and say, this is the life you're going to live, this is how it's supposed to look. Or what happens with Mars and Sag is you can have so many ideas and beliefs about your path that are just really good ideas, but not true to you, right? So you can dress up as any culture. You can convince yourself of this great spiritual or intellectual, philosophical or expansive or business venture journey. And it was all just something you were trying to make yourself. You were trying to convince yourself. So the possibility of recklessness and getting overboard and going crazy with it, that's very possible with Mars and Sagittarius. Seeing where Mars is in your chart, the middle of Sagittarius, where is that in your chart? It's where there's a lot of energy right now. And that energy can be diffused. It can be wasted energy. It can be energy with a lot of strong starts, but shallow endings. To cultivate the energy of Mars in Sagittarius means finding a foundation in self-honesty, which means in this case, knowing that we're free to make our own choices. That freedom can only happen when we know that wherever we go, we can be authentically ourselves. It's only when we start to believe that we can't be authentically ourselves that we begin to construct all kinds of grand divisions and plans for what to do and where to be and who to become. But to know that right here where you are, you can be true to yourself. What does it look like to be true to yourself and to offer that? Right? So Mars is relational in the sense that it's how we're enacting and instigating, expressing our energy outward. And that will be towards others as well. And this can be off-putting, right? Mars and Sag can be very off-putting, where others can feel alienated or judge, or, like they can't really access us because we're just kind of doing our own thing. So to become aware of, are we affecting a sense of alienation, right? Are we pushing others away with our fire? Or it can be the other way around. Do we feel that others are pushing us away with their fire and their ambition? Do we not feel like we can make a choice? That's a really important place to reflect right now. And squaring Venus and Neptune in Pisces, this really speaks to forgiveness, to realizing that there's so much more love, there's so much more safety, there's so much more support than we have may otherwise tended to realize. The tendency of the suffering mind is always to project a reality that is unfriendly, that is antagonistic, that implies suffering and pain and sickness and disconnection. And to the suffering mind, there's always sacrifice, right? There's a sense of, I'm going to lose something, or I'm going to miss something, and this one choice means this is being lost. And it will always feel like there's something that makes it impossible to live right now, to live fully and wholly and healthily right now. So Neptune in Pisces with Venus moving into it, and to speak to that just by itself, it's dissolving of the illusions of separation. It dissolves the barriers and the boundaries that we've established that says, this is who you are. This is the box I put you in. This is the box that I put me in. This is what it needs to look like. Because Venus is our relationships with the world. We're constantly interacting. We're finding ways to harmonize and work together. And Venus is also our self-esteem, our self-worth, which basically determines what we feel we are worth, right? What kind of relationship standards we hold. And the tendency with Venus is to project it outside, right? So if we're not holding self-worth or self-esteem, we'll then get really disappointed when others aren't treating us with respect. Or if we are holding certain, certain level of shame or guilt, then we're not going to feel like we deserve to be loved unconditionally for who we are. We might feel guilty. We might feel unworthy if someone starts loving us. And Venus corresponds to the idea of expectation, because in the Venus Libra realm, we're making agreements, doing all those kinds of things. But in the Pisces realm, there are no expectations. There are no conditions. But Venus and Pisces, it's unconditional love. It's, I'm going to love you. I'm going to serve you because love is the truth. But I'm not going to give my power away to that. I'm not going to expect you to give me something back. And so in Venus, through the Libra archetype, we learn how to come into balance. It's like, okay, can you meet these expectations? Are these reasonable? We learn how to navigate the multifaceted realm of our human relationships so that we can be in balance and harmony and live at peace with things as they are and grow together and build trust together. But when we go into Pisces, it doesn't matter if you're father, daughter, mother, lover, brother, son, sister, uncle, child, it doesn't matter. Love is love and unity is unity. And the teachings that come with Pisces are always inviting us, offering the possibility to see what is deeply and fundamentally true about reality. And our suffering mind can't go there. Our conviction of strife and conflict can't meet the purity and the wholeness and the innocence of what's actually true. It can be someone you never met on the street that you just passed by one day, or it can be someone you've known for 50 years, and the miracles and the beauty and the healing that manifests in our life through loving, through being love, and through choosing love. Choosing not to believe our perceptions, which really always starts with acknowledging Okay, these are my perceptions. This is how I'm perceiving my reality. Is it true? Just being humble enough to recognize that we might not see things clearly for what they are. We might see a computer as a computer. We might see a brother as a brother, a wife as a wife, a child as a child. But to see from the eyes of love means giving way to something beyond anything we know, beyond anything we've ever told ourselves, beyond anything we've ever learned. If we bring all of this together, Mars asks for courage. This says you are loved and held and supported and welcome completely as you are. Can you give that gift to others? Can you practice meeting where the judgment and the expectations and the conditions manifest within you? And just notice that in your relationships and give to another the gift of freedom, the gift of honoring their own path. You know, we can only really do that when we know that we're not going to lose anything by loving. We're not going to lose anything if we choose peace. And so the courage of Mars is a courage to be honest, to be authentic, radically so. Squaring Venus and Neptune in Pisces. Look to see where that is in your chart too. Right? This is where there's a lot of healing and revelation that can manifest for you. And this square is bringing more space for all the different parts of us to live here, to harmonize. You know, Venus and Neptune are both music in some way. And it really bespeaks the question, has your life become so set in your mind that there's no longer any play, beauty, inspiration, art, music, creativity? What about the lovemaking? What's the grace? What's the beauty? These signatures can also speak to a restlessness and seeking, right? Looking for another or looking for the right person or being dissatisfied with those who are in your life and wanting something beyond that. And there's really no pleasure in that mentality. It's only when we realize that we have what we need and that everything comes and goes, it's not on our schedule. And we realize that if we can drop the belief and the conviction that there's somewhere else, that there's something else, the space and the opportunity to love and to enjoy and to play and to experience harmony enhances so greatly. Harmony. You know, I love singing with people. It's my favorite joy. And I love singing and doing harmonies and listening and being with others that share in that space of listening, deep listening. So it's like a feeling of the heart and the mind opening up together. It's so beautiful to share in that space with another. There's a divinity that emerges in that field of listening where two people are not holding this agenda to make the other person something you think they should be, but a genuine curiosity and an interest and a delight in the listening to your song, to your voice, to your words, to your mind, to your heart. And that listening is a sharing that brings two people together into a divine union, into a healing field. It's so true. Whenever two or more are gathered in my name, that's where I will be. That teaching is so profound that whenever we come together in a holy and pure way, it doesn't have to be religious or spiritual. It's just the sincerity of loving and caring, innocence, purity. That's where God is.